Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Flo and I am going to talk to you today about where to save money on books or how to make money on books. So as I mentioned in my last video, I'm actually on a book buying ban and I have been on one so it's the early September now. I've been on one since I think the start of June. And the reason for that was because cost of living crisis, for one. Leaving the house is expensive, let alone like buying books. So I looked at my bookshelves. I've got one here, I've got one in my hallway, I've got one in my bedroom, and then I've got one in the entranceway of my apartment. And I was like, there are just too many books on these shelves that I have not read. And so I pulled them all out, went through them all. I will put like a video here of me sort of going through them. And I sorted them out, and I have been reading so much whilst I've been on this book buying ban because I just want to get through them. But I've mentioned before, I work full time and reading paperbacks is actually like, I don't have a lot of time. I also write my own novels, and so like in my spare time, I kind of prefer to like to give myself space to write. And so reading paperbacks, I do it like on the tube when I'm in bed or like on a Friday after work. I actually read a lot. I think I read maybe like 20 to 30 pages a day, but that's not loads compared to a lot of people. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks and I get the maximum number of audiobook credits you can on like the subscription. So I get the equivalent of 2 a month, but I like front end them all at the beginning of the year. So that was 24. I ran out of that in like May or June. And so I've had to find creative ways to get through my physical TBR, and somebody on BookTok actually introduced me to an app called Libby. It's a library app in the UK. I don't know if it's global, but definitely in the UK. All you have to do is link your current library card to the app and it gives you a library of ebooks and audiobooks completely for free. I should also say that because I grew up in Bristol, I live in London, and there are loads of different boroughs in London, I can actually get multiple books, like multiple library cards, and then get open to so many different libraries in the area. So I've got one from my hometown. I signed up to 2 different boroughs in London because it doesn't actually matter where you live, you just have to be a resident in the UK, I believe, to get a library card. So I did that. The only downside to the Libby app is you sometimes have to wait for books. So I am waiting for 2 non-fiction books and I've been waiting for like 2 months for them. I'm on hold at the beginning of my TBR challenge and my book buying ban, and I'm still waiting for them. The other downside is if you've only got library cards where they have a limited number of audiobooks, like if you don't have as many, you're quite limited. But I would just recommend whenever you go to a new place in the UK and you visit, just go into their library, sign up to the library, and get the library card, and then link your Libby app. And I know I've mentioned the app to get ebooks and audiobooks, but obviously it's not revelationary for me to suggest going to a library to get free books. If you, like me, like to read paperbacks, I would 100% recommend going to your local library and getting books. They are getting so much better at like stocking more contemporary books. And even in my library, I've asked them, are you getting this book in? They've then requested it and got the book and stocked it in the library. So libraries are a great way to get your hands on books for free. And then the other thing you can also do is Audible included. So yes, I had an Audible subscription and I've had one for years, and I didn't know that some audiobooks you can get included in your subscription without using a credit. Mariana Zapata is an author that has a ton of books that are on Audible included. And also I listened to a couple of Kennedy Ryan's books, like Long Shot, which is one of my all-time favorite books. Monica Murphy's that were also on my TBR challenge. I found them on Audible included, didn't use a credit, and reduced my physical TBR. And so another way you could get books for free, which I guess a lot of people talk about, is getting like ARC copies of books or getting publishers to send you books. I don't have a huge following like on TikTok by any means, and I'm like only just starting out on BookTube, so I don't really get a lot of ARCs or like gifted copies. HarperCollins are sending me a book. They reached out to me last week, and that's the first publisher mail I've ever got, so I couldn't really recommend this as a way to definitely get free books. But the other thing I think you can, no matter how many like social media followers you have, you can get and sign up to ARC copies of books regardless. I personally don't do it, so I don't know what sites there are, but if I find any, I will like list them on the screen now. But yeah, I don't actively use any, so I couldn't recommend that as like a guaranteed way to get books. And finally, a way to make money on books, because who doesn't like to make money? Obviously, unhauling is a big way to make money on the books that you have not read. I can prove that with the fact that like I have so many books that were sat on my physical TBR that had I not put myself and set myself this TBR challenge, I would not have picked up. My like life goal, my dream is to have a library, and I know to have a library you need to have like, is it like over 1,000 books? But I have hoarded all my books from like when I did my history degree at uni, like literally history books that I've never picked up. Other random books that I've bought throughout like the years, because I've always read, I've always been a reader, and I love paperbacks, so I'll always pick up books. I literally think maybe only 30% of them I actually enjoyed or like, and it seems silly to keep them and not want to read them. Make that make sense, I don't know. I'm just hoarding basically, and I live in a tiny apartment. I don't have space for this, so I am gonna unhaul books. And I know that there are 2 ways that have been popular. One of them is Zipit. It's owned by World of Books, and I think you just, like, there's an app, you just scan the QR code and it gives you a price that they are willing to purchase the book off you for, and I believe you send it. I don't know the ins and outs of it because I've not done it. I'm gonna create an entire separate video on using this app and how much money I make. And then there's also Vinted. I know a lot of people use Vinted, but they sell the books really cheap, so they'll put them on for like £1 or £2, if not less. And so I don't know whether with Zipit you could get more than Vinted, but I know a lot of people have really great experiences with Vinted. And also as well, if you want to buy secondhand books cheap, Vinted is a great way to do it. So yes, okay, you're not getting the book for free, but you're saving money. So yeah, I would say use Zipit to sell books, Vinted to sell books, maybe eBay. I don't know about Depop, but they take fees. So those are sort of the 2 champion sites that I would use. And if you found this useful, let me know. Have any other creative ways of saving money on books? You can recommend any ARC websites or any ways that you've made money. Did you find that you made more money through Zipit or Vinted, or is there another website that I don't know about? Please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because I am just starting out on this booktube journey, so your support would mean a lot.